Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
All right, guys. So I want to address a question that came to us by one of our family members that's been with us a long time, and her name is Ginger Ailbrit. She brought up the South Atlantic Anomaly. And, you know, me being an old fart, excuse me if I swore there, I tend to forget if we've not talked about something for a while and the years pass by. And so, you know, it's been a while since we talked about that. And there's been a lot of consternation and anxiety relating to it. By the way, first I want to show you guys this. Look at this. Isn't this anomalous? We're looking obviously at Google Earth. Look at these lines. Are they not pretty straight? And when you look at them, wow, what could this possibly be? Do you think that's natural? I don't think that's natural. It's not a simple seam in Google's Google Earth that they're stitching together. No, this has a distinct pattern that's extremely curious. Where is this and what is this? Well, it gives me an impression right away. And by the way, when we look at this, where are we here? Well, there's South Africa. There's South America. We're down in the South Atlantic by the South Atlantic Anomaly. Oh, there's more interesting things down in this area than meet the eye. You know, we've talked about this before. This looks like some sort of massive impact with something very large, spherical. You can almost see the shape and size of this thing. Whatever it is that came and hit this and came to a stop there, it looks to be substantial. And, you know, again, there's so much in our myths and legends around the world that's going to actually be closer to the truth than the science they sell us, because science is sales. By the way, talking about science, let's look up to Alaska. What do we see? We see, this is that high-frequency active auroral research program. Yeah, this is all the way up in Kokona, Alaska. Yeah, HARP, that's right. Well, let's look at that from above. Wait a minute. It does look kind of similar, from above. Looks like it might be some sort of a ray on the bottom of the ocean. Could be. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Who knows? You know, there's so much coming out right now that it's hard to keep up with it. And yet we know there's definitely strange weather phenomena underway. Disturbed ionosphere. Oh yeah. The ionosphere is very disturbed. There's a lot of things disturbed. By the way, come and join us on our dear friend R. Wayne Steiger channel. We are going to be doing a live with him. It's a regular Thursday happening. It has happened. We were warned. No one listened. Well, yeah, I know some people listened. We'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff going on. You know, I think when they're using that harp I really feel it in my bones. I mean, I literally feel it in my bones when they're using some sort of weather things. You know, I want to be careful with my words.
You know, in fact, when you start looking, you find tons of anomalies all over. But, yeah, we could just spend hours diving into them. Do come and join us on the Patreon channel. Again, there are videos that go up over there, usually once or twice, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. Exclusives just on the Patreon channel. You can join us over there as well for as little as $1. There's different tiers with different benefits. So it's this article again that seems to have caused a flurry of activity with people making videos about this. Now, this one came out May 27th, 2025. There's been many articles about this going way back to the very beginning of Evolutionary Energy Arts channel. In fact, I've made several talking about this in the past, but most of the ones I made were more in the 2017 to 2020-ish time frame, kind of pre-Cindy, and Cindy has definitely given me a much more solid connection in my intuition and with the guides than I had before, so we can share more now. NASA's latest research into the South Atlantic anomaly reveals a growing region of weakened magnetic intensity over South America, posing significant risks to satellite technology and prompting urgent scientific investigation. The SAA, that's again the South Atlantic Anomaly, is a region of weakened magnetic field over South America, posing risks to space technology. Satellites passing through this area face exposure to high-energy particles, leading to potential single-event upsets and system malfunctions. The anomaly is dynamically changing, drifting northwest and splitting into two lobes, increasing hazards for space. NASA uses satellite data and core simulations to model the magnetic field's evolution and improve mission planning. The SAA has emerged as a focal point of scientific intrigue and concern. The vast region of weakened magnetic field over South America, it presents, and it does head over towards Africa as well, present a unique challenge for NASA and global scientific community originating from complex processes within the Earth's core. The SAA is not only a fascinating natural phenomenon, but also a critical area of study due to its potential impact on space technologies. As the anomaly evolves, it becomes imperative to understand its mechanisms and anticipate the challenges it presents to our technological infrastructure. So at the heart, again, it's a significant reduction in magnetic intensity compared to the surroundings. Far from being a mere scientific curiosity, this weakness acts as a breach in our natural protective shield, allowing high-energy solar particles to dangerously approach Earth's surface. The origins of the SAA are intricately linked to geodynamo, a complex process occurring in the Earth's outer core. Here, the movement of the molten iron and nickel generate magnetic field that envelopes us. However, this generation is not uniform. Two primary factors contribute to the formation of the SAA: the tilt of the Earth's magnetic axis relative to its rotational axis, and the influence of a massive dense structure known as the African Large Low Shear Velocity Province, located about 1,800 miles beneath the African continent. These factors disrupt the magnetic field generation in the region, leading to local polarity reversal within the Earth's magnetic field, further weakening the dipole field intensity in this specific area. So this poses a significant risk to space technology. Satellites transversing the SAA, again, exposed to high levels of energetic protons, which can cause different single-event upsets, temporary malfunctions, data corruption, even permanent damage. Again, could this cause a grid-down scenario? Could this increase the chance of different cancers down on the surface? And, again, this is coming from never a straight answer. So, again, do we take verbatim as complete fact? Those that brought us the science of 2020, I don't think we should ever take anything as a fact. You have to feel into it yourself and look around you. Here we did have a surprisingly strong geomagnetic storm, and it did hit just under a 7 on the KP index. We really haven't had that much activity. In fact, I think the sun has been less active, although than expected. The sun cycles, if we really look to all the predictions everybody was making, they never really manifested. And again, it shows that you can't always count on the science to end up verifying itself in the long run. We do see a very large hole in the corona, which does affect us as well. And yeah, the sun is a relay from source. The sun is the trigger of everything. And again, most scientists would probably recommend sunscreen, which again is loaded with a lot of things that I don't want to put on my body ever. So, and yet I do believe that the sun is triggering genetic mutations of a positive manner. And I think, they will tell you it's all negative. There's so much being revealed right now. This is one we did 7 years ago. This was Earth Changes Update Scientists. Pole shift is underway, South Atlantic anomaly. Yeah, there is, a long-term magnetic change happening in the planet, but we're going through the change of the Yugas. That's the big key here. This one also from 7 years. Objects draining the sun. Oh yeah, there's ships that charge in the sun. There are lots of ships, in fact. And here we're talking about Planet X, Twitter X, XRP. There's a lot of X's going around. Yeah, Nibiru, massive power outage, and of course that South Atlantic anomaly. And this is a letter talking about the impact of the South Atlantic anomaly on the aurora system. Now, we've seen auroras much, much lower than expected. We've again seen solar storms that shouldn't, it just doesn't add up if the science is correct to what we have seen with, seeing the auroras or the northern lights to such low latitudes. But again, here we are. We're now literally 1 year into a Bronze Age. We've left the Dark Age, and that Dark Age is really dark in the sense of true knowledge. Again, when you look to NASA, can you really trust anything that they bring us? I wouldn't. That's just me. I am very skeptical of NASA. There's been a lot of things out there over the years. This one was from 6 years ago. Massive anomalous energetic wave from Antarctica blasts the hurricane zone. And in fact, again, this coming about, and was it actually triggering storms? As we see this strange wave of energy coming from, again, the South Atlantic emanating upwards. Now, this happened more than once. And yeah, a lot of videos I had to turn to private because I know they were going to take down the channel, and we had 2 strikes. So at one point in time, I had to turn every single video private. But then I went through and put most of the ones that I felt wouldn't be a problem back on public. But I'm still getting YouTube looking at videos like this from 6 and 7 years ago, even though there's no reason for them to look at them. And even ones that are marked private. Now, I can't tell you if I made it private or they did, because I don't really remember the individual case, but there's still probably more videos that we've done years ago that are private than are public, by far. So that would also explain how people haven't gone searching and finding them. Now, again, do they want, keep certain things from the public? Absolutely. When you look at this and you wonder what is going on here, and I'll link all these older videos and flip them. So, I don't know if they'll flip them back. You're seeing some sort of energetic wave coming from down in the South Atlantic, close to Antarctica, and you're seeing hurricanes form. Oh man, that's really curious, is it not? It happens to be from, that same area we were looking at on Google Earth. Isn't that even more curious yet? This one also, now this was from a year ago. This was interesting because we were talking again about this, which I've shown before. This is a literal face that was found in Antarctica. Is it just the way the snow drifts? Just an optical illusion? Well, it happens to look exactly like this. Which this is the face of Enki that we got using a spirit, a water and crystal technique in a silver bowl, and asking the water to manifest a vision of what Enki really looks like. And so, this was very, very curious. This is from a friend of ours over in the UK. That's a very gifted psychic. It has a real knack for calling spirits into the water, which again is something that's anti-biblical because again, it would expose the whole extraterrestrial system that's in place on planet Earth. Yeah, I do think they look a lot alike if you ask me, but maybe that's just me. This one is from 6 years ago also, talking about, again, the strange waves that rippled around the world and nobody knows why. Could it be technology? Could it be technology? You have a geophysicist that worked for DARPA and the Navy, believes the Earth's magnetic pole has shifted. This was also 6 years ago. Is it that now he's spilling the beans? Or is it that he's providing DARPA and the control system with a wonderful excuse, that they want to keep from us that there's a magnetic pole reversal underway that's going to wreck civilization? But the reality is it's really technology that's doing the damage. So with that, I'm going to give it to Cindy to feel into what she has found. And by the way, there's some cute little views down in here. It's really weird. I uncovered some spots before in years past that had basically street views, and when you would click on them in the South Atlantic by Antarctica, all of a sudden you'd find yourself in a desert, like you were somewhere in Iraq or maybe somewhere else in the Middle East. Very weird.
Well, with these anomalies, we have some things going on, and maybe I can channel a little more into it, but just preliminary energetic channeling, what I see is the fifth dimension getting bigger. The fourth dimension is things are getting squeezed, and we have energies coming into our dimension because the lower fourth dimension needs a certain type of energy to keep it going. So we are dealing with a lot of energies coming into our dimension, our third dimension, and they are kind of utilizing our traumas. They're utilizing our pain. They're utilizing, because with the body, honestly, the human body is very interesting. It has this bubble around it, and this bubble actually holds in your light, the light that helps you function, animates. And when we have a tear in our aura because of energetic trauma, or we have a tear in our aura because of a surgery or because of a car accident, because any kind of trauma, that can create a tear in that bubble. And what comes out of that bubble is light. So when these energies do see this leaky light, and I work on this a lot with people, I fix that. But when they see the leaky light, that's just like a tick knowing that, hey, there's a food source there. I need to go feed. I'm weak. I'm not strong. I need food. So it comes to feed off of us, which really can make us extremely drained. And I think the number one complaint in the last month or so has been people are exhausted, or they have headaches, or there's some type of problem. And when you lose your light to something else, that's what's happening. You literally feel drained. So after we do work on someone, they get all their light back, and they get that bag, that seal gets to be fixed, and they have more energy and they feel better. But at the same time, it's like, handing you the ball. It's like, now you have to fix the things that opened that trauma to begin with. So when you go on a healing journey, you have to be willing to give up those things that poisoned you to begin with. And that's the hard part. We can temporarily help, but then you have a little bit of time for you to find the fix and figure out, okay, what do I need to do to actually heal? Band-aids, when it comes to DRs, I'm not telling anyone to not see their DR, but they tend to give out Band-aids that all that does is redirect the light is going to go out the next opening. So it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole with the human energy field. But that's what we have going on. We have a lot going on in dimensions and densities, and I'll try to get more.
So you feel, there is a natural component to all this going on. Obviously, it's the shifting of the ages, the shifting of the Yugas, yet there's also technology in play that can use as an excuse the shifting of the natural processes that are underway, and utilize it, again, as always, to create fear and loosh, which is energetic food for many beings. And then also use it to herd humans into certain areas. Don't be surprised if in the future they are trying to herd people into safer areas. And there's many different tools they could use to do that. They could even, if, say, we had a war situation and there was tremendous damage done, and, certain areas were not safe because of unexploded munitions or radiation or something of that sort. they might recommend people, again, go over to these areas. And, you never know. There might be a place available for you at UBI in free rent.
Indeed.
There will always be a catch. That's why, maintain your autonomy. Look at these guys. These guys are pretty autonomous, aren't they? Wow, they got themselves a nice view. And, they're doing their thing out there, being penguins in nature. We should be also doing our thing, being creative entities. We have the true source within us. And that's what our purpose is to create, not to be a battery system for others.
I agree.
As always, guys, we look forward to your comments. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.